Okay, you're engaged.
I'm engaged.
He did good, right? Well, right? Very well. He did good. But there's no date.
Speaks to the jury, that $5 million engagement ring's from Birdman, honey, just gone, honey. So Toni Braxton is trying to get her engagement ring back. Now, one of the questions I want to know...
I know. Well. Looks like the #1 stunner himself, Birdman, is out here catching feelings and spilling tea. The streets are buzzing that Mr. Hungry Mud didn't just get his heart broken. He got played. Word is, Birdman is finally putting it all out there. And his version of the Toni Braxton saga, it's messy. Real messy. According to him, Toni drained his bank account, vanished when the cash started drying up, and now she's allegedly circling back because her money situation's crumbling once again. But let's not act brand new. Toni Braxton being broke ain't exactly a shocker to anyone who's been watching. This ain't her first financial downfall. Sis got 2 bankruptcies on her record already and a known taste for the finer things, designer everything, first-class flights, luxury cars. That lifestyle don't come cheap. And now that Birdman's finally breaking his silence, the puzzle pieces are starting to fall into place. But here's where it gets even messier. Sources close to Toni say Birdman is just feeling salty and trying to rewrite the narrative now that the love's gone cold. They're saying he's just bitter. She moved on, and he's using this money angle to save face. Still, some folks can't help but wonder, did Toni really finesse him? Was it love or just a long con wrapped in roses and red carpets? We're talking about alleged money manipulation, trust issues, and a fallout that might be one of the dirtiest to ever hit the R&B scene. The aftermath is full of whispers, accusations, and a whole lot of broken pride. Toni Braxton allegedly tried to walk away from Birdman with a jaw-dropping $160 million divorce payout after being married for less than a month. Yep, you heard that right. Most folks thought they were riding together for longer, but insiders say she didn't even bother to stick around long enough to pretend everything was cool. Word on the street, Toni dipped just 2 days after the wedding. 2 days. Less than 30 days later, she was already filing those divorce papers, claiming the marriage was irretrievably broken with absolutely no chance of a comeback. And that's when things really hit the fan. Because if that 160 million number is even close to the truth, this wasn't just a messy breakup, this was a heist with vows. People are stunned by the sheer nerve of it. We're not talking about a basic split, we're talking top-tier audacity. Given Toni's long-running money troubles, 2 public bankruptcies, and taste for high-end everything, the whispers are getting louder. Folks are starting to wonder, was the whole marriage a setup from the jump? Like, did the woman who gave us Unbreak My Heart really marry the #1 stunner just to secure a massive bag? And how in the world did Birdman not see any of this coming? Was he really that blinded? Or did she just play the game better than anyone expected?
She was so freaking mean to me. I was in shock.
Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now?
100%.
100%.
100%. I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much.
The fact that Toni Braxton really believed she was owed $160 million after just 2 days of marriage had fans absolutely stunned, like jaws on the floor. That's exactly why so many people are taking Birdman's side now, straight up calling her a gold digger. Because, let's be real, how do you walk out of a marriage that fast and still expect to collect a whole fortune? That's not love, that's a hustle. Now, everyone knows Birdman and Toni officially went their separate ways back in 2019, but things didn't stay quiet for long. That's when the drama took a whole new turn. According to Birdman, Toni started creeping back into the picture in 2023, dropping little hints, throwing flirty energy, and basically letting it be known she was ready to spin the block like nothing ever happened. At first, Birdman says he wasn't buying it. He had already moved on, left all that mess behind, and wasn't looking to double back. But here's the kicker. Toni didn't give up. She kept coming around, staying in his orbit, making sure she stayed on his mind. That persistence eventually cracked him. The old sparks fired back up, and before long, they were full-on back together like the breakup never happened. They gave the relationship another shot, stayed linked for about a year, and then tied the knot again on August 8th, 2024. Just 2 days after saying I do, Toni Braxton hit Birdman with divorce papers.
You said, I'm just not feeling it anymore. And then you came back.
Yeah. I think it's when I was first diagnosed with having lupus, I was so down, I was so depressed, and the doctors told me I would never be able to work again, your music career's over, but the man upstairs had a whole other plan for me.
Yeah.
But at the time...
Again, according to the court docs filed in September, she listed their separation date as August 10th, 2024, literally 48 hours after the wedding. Fans are still spinning, trying to figure out what kind of chaos went down in that tiny window of time. But one thing's for sure, something shady is hiding behind those vows. And when folks found out she was allegedly demanding the entire $160 million from Birdman as part of the divorce, people lost it. The internet went wild. Even 50 Cent jumped in on Instagram, throwing major shade with a post that read, "Now watch, women are gonna say, well, if you stuck it out for 16 years, you'd want to get paid too." But this ain't no 16-year love story. This was a 48-hour meltdown. Word is Birdman's convinced Toni was never in it for love to begin with, just the money. And looking at how quick the marriage fell apart, fans are starting to agree. Let's not forget, Birdman's net worth is right around that $160 million mark. And Toni allegedly wants every last dime of it. Sis didn't even last a full week before pulling the plug and spinning the breakup into a massive money move. And while Toni's staying quiet for now, insiders say Birdman is heated, furious. Behind the scenes, he's been calling her out, accusing her of being a gold digger and telling people she better start putting some respect on his name because he's done playing nice. And Birdman ain't holding back at all. He feels like he got straight up played, and some insiders are starting to back him up on it. Allegedly, Toni didn't just aim for his pockets in court. She went further than that. Word is when she couldn't get direct access to his cash, she even tried to flip some of his jewelry on the low. That's right, she allegedly tried to sell off his personal pieces. If true, that's a whole new level of wild. As messy as this drama is, folks aren't really that surprised. Let's be real, Toni Braxton's history with money has always been shaky. She was one of the biggest R&B stars in the 90s, stacking millions off album sales, tours, and more. But somehow, she still ended up losing everything, not once, but twice. Her first major financial crash came in 1998 when she filed for bankruptcy, and it was a bombshell. People couldn't wrap their heads around it. How does someone that famous and successful go broke like that? The headlines were brutal, and her fans were blindsided. But it didn't end there. In 1999, the money drama just kept spiraling, and Toni couldn't catch a break. It got so intense that she even sat down with Oprah to try and clear the air. But instead of a soft moment, Oprah pressed her hard, called out her spending habits, questioned her financial choices, and exposed the reckless moves that led to her downfall. And instead of taking accountability, Toni flipped the script on national TV. She accused Oprah of being mean and tried to paint herself as the victim. A bold move, especially when the receipts were stacking against her. The whole thing had folks side-eyeing her like, seriously? Now, Toni did manage to bounce back after that first bankruptcy.
I admired her and looked up to her, and she pretty much reprimanded me. What do you mean? And immediately, she made me feel this big.
For a moment, it looked like she was finally back on track. Booked, busy, and reclaiming her throne, but that glow-up didn't last long. In 2010, she hit financial rock bottom again and filed for bankruptcy a second time, and this one was even uglier than the first. According to court records, she claimed she was drowning in debt somewhere between $10 million and $50 million. That's not just a little money trouble. That's a financial disaster. Toni blamed the collapse on the sudden cancellation of her Las Vegas residency, which ended after she was diagnosed with a serious heart condition. But that was just one piece of the puzzle. Behind the scenes, there were major issues with insurance coverage, legal drama over who was paying what, and a mountain of unpaid taxes stacking up with no end in sight. It was like everything hit her at once, and she couldn't keep up. Since then, Toni's been quietly trying to hold it all together, but the numbers don't lie. Her music just isn't moving like it used to. Her last album barely scraped together 7,000 sales and only reached number 163 on the Billboard 200. The album before that last one barely pushed 16,000 copies. For someone who once dominated the charts and ran the R&B scene, those kinds of numbers are a big red flag. With her record sales crashing hard, Toni had to switch lanes. Her main cash flow started coming from Braxton Family Values, the family's reality TV show. But even that spotlight started to dim. The buzz slowed down in recent years, and without chart-topping music or consistent media attention, the pressure behind the scenes was stacking fast. Now, fans are starting to ask the real question. Was Toni's rekindled thing with Birdman ever about love, or was it about survival? The streets had already been whispering that she was just inches from filing for bankruptcy again. And then, out of nowhere, she suddenly popped back up with Birdman after being apart for over 4 years. The timing felt way too convenient, and people couldn't help but give her the side eye. It started to look like she wasn't trying to be with Birdman the man, she was aiming for Birdman the bag. Fans were like, wait a minute, this ain't adding up. Because let's be real, for years, Toni swore up and down that it was over for good. She even said there was zero chance of them ever getting back together. Straight up, who do you think I am? Don't you know that he was my man? Now that Birdman's putting her on blast and dragging all their dirty laundry into the public, people are really starting to believe this whole thing might have been a setup from the jump, a calculated money move. Even before this latest storm hit, fans were already suspicious about the strange energy between Toni and Birdman. And one moment that really raised eyebrows, that painfully awkward interview she did on Tamron Hall back in 2022. If you remember, the interview was supposed to be deep and emotional. Toni was there to open up about her lupus diagnosis, and it started off serious and heartfelt. But the second Tamron brought up Birdman, the entire vibe flipped. Toni froze up, her body language got real stiff, she wouldn't even make eye contact, and the tension in the room was thick. You could feel something was off, way off. She straight up said, "I'm just not feeling it anymore." And you could tell there was something bubbling under the surface. And then, boom, out of nowhere, she's back with him, like nothing happened. It didn't make sense then. And now, with all this chaos unfolding, it's starting to look real calculated. Let's be honest, the Toni and Birdman saga has never been smooth. It's been twist after twist, full of confusing moves, sudden breakups, and even more sudden reunions. Toni and Birdman have been playing this on-again, off-again game since way back in 2016. And even when they were together, their relationship had folks scratching their heads. It just never really made sense to most people. Remember in 2018 when Birdman went all out and proposed? He didn't just ask the question, he came through with a massive $5 million yellow diamond ring. It was flashy, over the top, and had the whole internet buzzing like crazy. At first, it looked like a straight up fairy tale moment. But then, nothing. No wedding, no countdown, no real updates, just weird energy and a whole lot of rumors floating around. Everything about the engagement started to feel more like a publicity move than a real love story. The wedding kept getting delayed, postponed, pushed back over and over again. Toni kept saying it was about timing, but fans weren't buying it. And then came the biggest red flag of them all. Toni claimed she lost the $5 million engagement ring. Yep, the entire ring. She said she accidentally left it on a flight. The bag it was in got returned, but the ring, gone. Just vanished like thin air. People were stunned, like how do you just lose a diamond worth that much? And now the word on the street is she didn't lose it at all. The whispers say Toni allegedly pawned the ring to help pay off some serious debt. And honestly, with her financial past, that theory ain't even shocking anymore. Her money situation's been rocky for years, and folks are saying she's now more desperate than ever to get some cash flowing in. So Toni did what a lot of folks in her situation might do. She sold the most valuable thing she had at the time, that $5 million engagement ring. At first, Birdman didn't think too much of it. He genuinely believed her story about it being lost, and he even stayed cool in interviews, brushing the whole thing off like it wasn't a big deal. Real chill, real unbothered, on the surface. But if these rumors are true, that cool attitude probably disappeared real fast. Because once Birdman found out what really went down, that's when everything started crashing. Turns out the ring wasn't lost at all. The story is that Toni allegedly sold it behind his back, and once he realized the truth, the trust was completely gone. They tried to hold things together, but the damage was already done. That betrayal hit hard, and not long after, the engagement was canceled. The whole relationship just fell apart. What was supposed to be a love story turned into a messy fallout full of secrets and silence. And now, years later, it looks like the cycle's starting all over again. Toni's back in the headlines, back in financial trouble, and back trying to reconnect with Birdman. But this time, he's not playing along. He's calling it what it is. Money games, manipulation, and no more chances. From the outside looking in, It seems like Birdman finally woke up and saw the pattern, and he ain't about to let history repeat itself this time. When you connect all the dots from that lost $5 million ring to Toni's back-to-back bankruptcies to that wild $160 million divorce demand after just 2 days of marriage, it's given a whole lot of red flags, not romance. At one point, Birdman might have been head over heels, blinded by love or loyalty. But now, he's calling it exactly how he sees it, raw and unfiltered. And while he might not be spelling out every detail just yet, his message is loud and clear. If these latest rumors are true, then Toni didn't just fumble the bag, she was chasing it all along. But with everything unraveling now, people want to know, just how deep does this rabbit hole go? Is Birdman just mad and bitter, airing things out of spite? Or is he finally exposing a side of Toni Braxton that's been hiding in plain sight all these years? One thing's for sure, two things for certain, this mess is far from over and it's getting juicier by the minute. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe because you do not want to miss what's coming next in our hood. Stick around, we're keeping our eyes on all the scandal, all the drama, and whatever surprise twist drops next.